We are back on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230, KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. Our guest by phone, Brian Johnston, the Regional Director for the National Right to Life. So, Brian, you were talking about AB 154. So anybody, a midwife, anybody can perform an abortion is basically what the bill says.
Yeah, no, and Clay was correct in his questioning there, that it isn't anybody. It now is no longer needed that one be a physician or a surgeon. And now here's the iron. It can be, under 154, it can be midwives, it can be nurse practitioners, it can be nurses. And what this does is it throws open the universe of abortionists and potential abortionists. Right now in California, even though we do more abortions than any other state in the nation, and we do double the per capita rate of abortion than any other state, there's still a shortage of abortionists, not because we're harming abortionists or anything like that. That's the implication. No, if you ask any physician, it is considered a very, very ethically challenged thing to do as a physician. A lot of doctors just didn't go to medical school to kill babies. That's the bottom line. And so it's hard to get a lot of abortionists. They need more abortionists. What AB 154 does, it opens up the pool of abortionists for Planned Parenthood and company, but it also makes paying the abortionists much, much cheaper. So this greatly expands the abortion industry in California. The second bill, though, that's a companion bill with this, and we've talked about it when it was going through the Assembly. Both of these bills, by the way, have gotten out of the Assembly and are going to the Senate. The second companion bill to AB 154 is AB 980. AB 980 redefines what an abortion clinic is and no longer requires the surgical setting that's currently required under law. So there's not even a sink required. You can basically do an abortion in what they call it's called a, quote, primary care, but it's a walk-in clinic. So if you know, like CVS Pharmacy and some of these other pharmacies now have these walk-in counseling places where you can talk to a nurse or a nurse practitioner, and it's actually covered under a lot of insurance. You go and you talk to them. It's a counseling. That's where you'll be able to do an abortion under AB 980. It is sponsored by Planned Parenthood itself. They asked for this change in the law. So the definition of an abortion clinic will be changed under AB 980. Under AB 154, the definition of an abortionist is changed. These two companion bills will explode the abortion industry in California.
You know,
and that's the purpose.
If someone was looking for a new business, this sounds like the one to be in.
Oh, it's incredible. And you're right, Clay, because you know what? It's all free government money. People don't understand. While Roe versus Wade supposedly is based entirely on the right to privacy, that's why we should be able to kill unborn babies, in the name of privacy. But in fact, in California, this is one industry that's almost entirely underwritten by the state. This is a state-sponsored industry, and the industry is in killing human babies. It's bizarre, and it isn't just the abortionists that are going to pay. So right now it's physicians that are paid to do abortions by the state. They get state funds to do that. But in fact, the rent, the advertising, the marketing, all the ancillary costs, the carrying costs, if you will, of running a business, are also paid for by the state. That's why it's so extraordinary. And really the reason it is conscience, and it is the handful of pro-life people have to say, wait a second, this isn't a good idea. Otherwise, it's like, what if you could open a 7-Eleven and the state said, as you're saying, Clay, a good business. Yeah, 7-Eleven would be a great business if all of my costs were borne by the state, and I didn't have to worry about making a profit because I'm getting free money from the state to open the business, to market the business in every area. And actually, the pay that's coming in, the people don't even pay me. They're getting that covered because the state's covering the cost. So, yeah, it's a great business.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, it's because it's so tawdry and so on its face morally objectionable that we're able to keep some kind of lid on it, but we're not doing a good job in California. Again, we have double the per capita rate of abortion in California.
Amazing. Our guest by phone, our old friend, Brian Johnston, the Regional Director of the National Right to Life.
I think I said it wrong. I said a great business. Actually, it's a disgusting business, but it's a very profitable business. And then here's the other problem we're going to be looking at. People are going to be saying that they're a registered nurse or an LVN, and they're going to be able to do these abortions, and they may not even be registered. Just anybody will be able to do abortions. There'll be no recording, no follow-up. And what happens if a baby is born alive? As an example, what happened back in Chicago?
There's so many complications. Again, he's now passed away, but I believe, Marty, you at least knew and spoke to Bernard Nathanson. He was the founder of the National Abortion Rights Action League. And he personally oversaw more human abortions than any other person in history. He estimates more than 100,000 abortions he oversaw personally, because he trained abortionists as well as doing his own abortion. He had an abortion clinic that was a 3-story building in New York City. When he then went into prenatal care, he became a specialist in prenatal care, and he said he actually went crazy because he had to have himself hospitalized because he was one day it was actually the same day he would go in and try to save a premature baby, and then literally go across the street to the abortion clinic that he personally owned and oversee killing literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And yet he was going to try to save that one other child that he just tried. It didn't make any sense to him. He snapped, if you will, and then after counseling and walked through, he decided, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And he wrote the book, Aborting America. He also did the film Silent Scream. Well, he's pointed out that this procedure that these nurse practitioners and as Marty said, hey, who's going to be checking these people? And there's so many questions that this raises.
Yeah,
but they're going to be doing a procedure that Bernard Nathan said is inherently dangerous to the woman. This is very unnatural. This is not like pulling a tooth like they used to say.
Yeah.
You say, this is like just pulling a tooth, just removing something from your body. No. This is using a very powerful vacuum cleaner that has a wand on the end. The physician cannot see the baby. So this powerful vacuum cleaner wand that has a curette on the end of it to cut up any human flesh that gets in the way. He or she probes the womb, looking for the target, looking for the baby and its placenta, to suck it out, to chop it up and to suck it all out into the vacuum cleaner, and using feel to do so. This risks scarring the uterus, or even perforating the uterus because of the power that's involved here in this invasive surgery. It's extremely dangerous. Sepsis, the complications from abortion are very, very high, and yet that doesn't get talked about. It is inherently an unsafe procedure that how it's done. And these nurses, midwives, others, they're not going to know what to do, nor are they licensed to do anything should there be a problem. And so this is such a huge, huge recipe for disaster. And yet Planned Parenthood is hell-bent on making sure this happens.
Yeah, amazing. Brian, as usual, with you and I and Clay, we're running out of time. We have about a minute left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we always do this. But, it's an incredible subject. We've got about 50 seconds left, and I know you and I yesterday talked about the fact you and I are both involved in starting some crisis pregnancy centers, and I know you're trying to do something here in the Central Valley. In about 35 seconds, tell us where you're trying to go here in the Central Valley. Well,
really quickly, it's part of a larger picture. One of the things that it's very important to realize that the right to life was lost in 1973. So it's important, yes, and it was legalized abortion that did it, but the right to life is no longer a fact in the United States of America. And our job is to restore the right to life. And that means that pro-life folks, it isn't just caring about abortion, isn't just caring about the baby that our job is. Our job is to work to restore the right to life. I'm working on a book about that. I'd love to come back and talk about that because this is something that unless pro-lifers understand that's our job, we won't get it done. Our job is to restore the right to life to our society, and there's a way to do it, and it's not that hard.
Yeah, Brian, unfortunately.
We must work on it.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I'm going to have you back shortly so we can talk about what we wanted to do here in Central Valley.
Great.
Okay, we'll see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio News Talk 1180.